There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We won't argue.
And people who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small. And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name. Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Supercheap Auto East Coast V8 series, coming to you from a lovely, exciting Silverstone circuit. I'm John Van Ree. With me tonight, I've got Mark Duggan. How are you, Mark?
Yeah, very good, John. This is one track I really enjoy driving on. It's just one of them tracks that, I don't know, it just has such great flow to it, and really looking forward to this evening's racing.
And just a quick look at the circuit. As we said, it starts on the famous Hamilton Straight, down through Abbey, into Farm, into Village, through the Loop, and then back onto the Aintree, down the Wellington Straight, through the famous Brooklands and Luffield and Woodcote, where we then go into the fast-flowing Cops Corner, made famous by Hamilton and Verstappen a couple of years back, and then up through one of the fast-flowing parts of the circuit, absolutely balls to the wall driving through Maggots and Beckett's, into Chapel, down the Long Hanger Straight, into Stowe, back down through Vale, and then finish it in the Club Corner. It is a cracking circuit, used for Formula One, has a steep history in motorsport, particularly in the UK, this place.
And we've brought the British weather with us, John, the foggy conditions.
Very, very interesting weather. That did put the blimp up to have a look to see if we've seen even the blimp before, and it was all white. So I don't think we're getting any blimp shots tonight. Now, we might just have a quick look at the point situation as well. So at the moment, Scott Gamble's leading our overall championship points. He has got himself ahead of Jacob O'Reilly from Vermeulen Motorsports. Ty Delaney, the 14-year-old minnow for Fishy Motorsports, sitting in third overall. Of course, 2 drop rounds haven't been taken into consideration in these points. Then Zachary Vlasbon from Vermeulen Motorsports sitting in 4th. Timmy Mulford from Phoenix Racing in 5th. Dawson in 6th. Stone Street, Coleman, Billingham, and then Steve Tonkin from JWM Motorsport rounds out the top 10 of the overall points. When we start breaking it down into our pro class, we've got Gamble, O'Reilly, Vlasbon, Ty Delaney, Dawson, Visma, James Scott. Keep an eye on him. He'll be the one to watch tonight, with his teammate Dylan Rudd. Hobson in 9th, and Martin Lofthouse from JWM Sim Sports in 10th. As we quickly roll through Super 2's being led by Timmy Mulford at the moment from Dave Coleman and Stone Street. Steve Tonkin sitting in 4th and John Fillingham in 5th. And then, of course, in the Vets, Gamble clearly leading that one from Stone Street. And Fillingham, Reg James sitting in 4th. Greg Sharp in 5th. Greg with a broken toe, so he won't be with us for a few weeks. Rusty Gander sitting in 6th. Brian Minogue in 7th. McNamara and Blanchard and Jamie McKnight round out the top 10 of the points situation. So these lads, and SDK is going to have some fun with me again tonight, I think, Mark. But these lads, they've got about 3 minutes left here in this qualifying session. James Scott is the man in P1 at the moment. Ignore the graphics. I'll try and sort them out as we get going. But James Scott leading the way with a 2:01.14 from Scott Gamble with a 2:01.6. So definitely some old times on this board there. I'll try and get that happening for us.
Even with the foggy conditions, John, track temperature's still up around 25.6 degrees. So still quite warm considering the conditions. We've got James Scott on top, as you said, Scott Gamble, Sean McNamara, Brenton Hobson, Zach Blasbom, Jacob O'Reilly, Ty Delaney, Dave Coleman, Troy Stone Street and Thomas Freeman's your top 10 at the moment. Dylan Rudd all the way down in 13th at the moment, and we've got a minute 50 left on the board.
Yeah, time definitely ticking away, a bit like my graphics at the moment. They came good last week, so well, hopefully they'll come good this week. I'll just get rid of that one. And so definitely going to be an interesting one, this. like I said, a couple of drop rounds. James Scott's already missed 2 rounds, so you can't afford a bad round now. Scott Gamble been consistent across all rounds so far. McNamara, the El Supremo from 95 Simsport, jumping in as well tonight. And looking to see how Zach Glassbaum goes. He's been coming from strength to strength in that new Vermeulen format of their team. And Jacob O'Reilly, his teammate, sitting in 6th. So still a fair way to go for a few of these guys.
Yeah, big drafting track too, John. Like big, wide Grand Prix circuit, as you said, and plenty of places to pick up a toe. So pretty sure a few boys got some good toes out there. And I noticed Sean McNamara's back in the Commodore tonight. Last few times I've seen him race, he's been in the Mustang.
And Rattray Wright just drops himself 3rd on the timing tower.
Brenton Hobson's jumped up to 5th.
So some movement in the stations at the moment. Just keeping an eye on Hobson in 6th. They're looking to see Stone Street still in 10th. Coleman's still in front of him.
Yeah, Dylan Rudd's still down in 13th, and he's going to stay there because the timing screen has just ticked over. So unusual to see Dylan that far down the order.
It's of course a circuit that not too many guys have probably done much prep work for. Of course, talking with a couple of the drivers was a big week for a lot of them last week as DC goes off the circuit there. Jump on here with Stoney. A lot of the guys saying with Scops, Pro Series and everything else, it was a big week last week. So a few guys probably a little bit burnt out tonight and a bit fatigued. But we'll see how they go.
Wait till they turn 60, John.
Yeah, absolutely. These young guys, no staying power anymore.
Exactly. Quite a back to the track. It's a funny track where you feel like it's so wide and you've got plenty of pace and momentum all the time, but it's very easy to pick up an off track here. A lot of corners where the car's completely unloaded and you're wanting to get on the gas at 100%, you know, pretty much straight away, and the car just wants to slip out at the back end. So a little bit tricky in areas, but it's just like I said, it's one of them tracks. It's just got a great flow to it, and it's a lot of fun to drive.
Oh, it is. And you, like I said, they got those wide corners, and you don't realise the speeds that you're actually going through some of these corners.
Yeah, it certainly gives you a false sense of security, the width of the track and the flow of the track sometimes. And yeah, like I said, the car can be very unloaded and you want to get on that gas straight away, and very easy to slip the back end around.
So just waiting for the server to tick over. And Sean McNamara in the chat saying practice done and laughing. Sitting in P4, Sean. Great little effort from mate. Great to see you actually on the track instead of giving us a bit of slack. And of course, going to be a good round tonight. Just wait for the server to tick over here. So Ty Delaney sitting in 8th, the 14-year-old. He actually, probably not aware of this one, Mark, but he actually came and did some commentary in the V8's Sandpit Split 3 broadcast the other night. The young fella represents himself very well.
I'm sure he was full of good information and giving them wise old heads in Split 3 and Vet some good commentary and some good points to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good.
And make no mistake, he might be 14, but he certainly drives like a very mature young man.
Yeah, definitely wise head on old shoulders. Let's just jump in here and go through the grid. So James Scott from Lobs Esports has taken pole with a 2-minute .881. Big jump by 7/10 ahead of Scott Gamble from 95 Sim Sports, followed by Zach Rattray White from Vermeulen Motorsports in 3rd. Sean McNamara rounds out the second row from 9.5. And then we've got Synergy Sim Racing's Brenton Hobson lining up alongside Vermeulen's Zachary Vlasblom. Jacob O'Reilly from Vermeulen sits in 7 alongside the minnow Ty Delaney from Fishy Motorsports in 8th. Dave Coleman from Fishy rounds out the first of our Super 2 drivers, lining up alongside Troy Stonestreet from WK&P Sim Sports. In 11th is Thomas Freeman from 9.5 Sim Sports. And in 12th is Anthony Visma from Accelerate Sim Racing. Keep an eye on the Viz. Expect him to move forward this evening. Dylan Rudd from Lobs Esport all the way back in 13th. One of the top drivers in the series, so keep an eye on him to be one of the biggest movers. Steve Tonkin from JWM Esports in 14th. Timmy Mulford all the way back in 15th in Phoenix Racing. He'd be looking to close that gap down to Coleman very quickly for the championship. In 16th, we've got Dean Flavel from WK&P Sim Sports. And then in 17th, we have Veteran Gaming Australia's John Fillingham lining up alongside the privateer Stephen Lawrence. Matthew Shanahan from Veterans Gaming Australia lines up behind his teammate in 19th alongside Reg James from WK&P. And then Rusty Gander in 21st lines up alongside Alan Dawson. So our reigning Super 2 champion all the way back at the rear of the grid without setting a time. Matt McMillan is our safety car driver, and our chief steward tonight is Richard Barella. And he's being assisted, of course, by our DSO, David Worrell. That's the grid, Mark.
Yep, we're only a few minutes, a minute and a bit from getaway here, so it's going to be interesting to see how Dylan Rudd comes back from 13th. I'm sure he'll make his way through the field at some point. It's got plenty of passing opportunities at this track, which is another thing that makes it a great circuit.
Yeah, definitely will be interesting. These guys, of course, only have 17 incident points before they get the drive through. 2 compulsory pit stops to be done, 1 fast repair. And of course, we are doing 34 laps. So it's a 200k dash this evening. So these boys 20 seconds away from getting this going. And I reckon it's going to be a great battle behind James Scott tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing Rattray White and Gamble go toe to toe with McNamara. And of course, we did see Zach Rattray White have a stunning performance in the Scops race that was held last week. Held on Sunday. So it will be some good battling throughout this pack, I believe, Mark.
Absolutely. The Vermeulen Doohan Motorsports team is certainly a team that is on the rise, and they've recruited well, they're driving very well,
and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. Lights are out, and we are away. Down the Hamilton Straight for the first time. Someone stalled up the back. Not sure who that is. Can't see them in the fog. As we come into turn 1, it looks like side by side with Gamble and Rattray White. Rattray White getting the jump. Great little start from him. Dylan Rudd up 10 spots already down the back. So a few movers and shakers already. As James Scott looks quite settled. 7/10 ahead of Zach Rattray White already. Gamble lined up behind. McNamara, Hobson, Flassbomb, O'Reilly. Coleman's up 1 spot. Rudd's now up 4 spots. He's having a big move.
They're up in the ninth already. Great jump from James Scott. Pretty even jump from everyone at the back there. Dylan Rudd making a move on the outside of Dave Coleman.
And then, of course, coming back around in the Woodcote, it's going to put him back on the inside. Gets the power down.
A little bit of a wobble there from Jacob O'Reilly on the exit, which makes Dylan Rudd's pace compromised.
Dylan tucks back in, side by side at Cops. Sees Coleman off wide. That's Rudd up 6 spots now. Just giving it to him, those 2 boys just then. So now he's got to try and close that gap. He's already 1.3 seconds back to Vlasbomb. And Rattray White's already 1.2 seconds from James Scott. So James Scott putting the power down and getting out of there real quick. And coming out of the fog down the hanger straight for the first time. As we jump on with Sean McNamara, tucked up behind his teammate, under pressure from Hobson. Don't rule out Hobson here. Hobson is a champion fuel saver around this place as well. So definitely some movers and shakers going to be going down in this place.
Absolutely. Brendan Hobson, very, very smart tactical driver and very wise head on him. So, yeah, we see Brenton come from many places back to get on podiums before, and I think he possibly did it last week at Watkins Glen. So, yeah, Brenton's very, very capable driver, and he'll know exactly what he has to do to jump these boys, if not on the track, in the pit lane.
Yeah, definitely jumping on board with McNamara here. Ron Rigby asking how many laps is James Scott going to put on all these boys. I don't think too many. Still early days.
Yeah, clearly James got a liking for this track, and I'm not sure about the setup, but the speed difference between him and Dylan Rudd is quite large. I'm not sure if Dylan just had a bad qualifying run and didn't quite nail a lap, or James is a lot more comfortable with the setup of the track. But James certainly opened up the gap very early on.
It definitely, McNamara dropping off the back a little bit here. Rattray White is now out to over 2 seconds. So some movers and shakers. Might just go have a look a bit further back. Stephen Lawrence trying to make a move here on Timmy Mulford. Then we got Stephen Tonkin, Dean Favell tucked up behind these guys. So a little bit of a battle pack.
Just in front of these boys, we've got Stone Street, Bisma and Thomas Freeman quite tightly packed as well. So these boys will really want to stay as close as they can, hang on to that draft as long as they can. Because once you drop that draft, you're really going to fall off the pace.
Yeah, it's definitely not a track where you want to spend your day fighting. As James Scott just sets a purple lap with a 2:02.193. It looks like a slowdown for Lawrence. Causing everyone to go through. Just going to go to that pack in front. Thomas Freeman battling away, of course, with Anthony Visma, as we talked about. Stone Street hanging on to the back of that. And these boys all staying roughly within distance of hanging on to the back of O'Reilly and Rudd.
They've got Ty Delaney just in front of them, John, and it looks like, they've made up a little bit of ground on that last lap, so they'd be probably trying to be chomping at the bit to make sure they hang on to this toe, hoping that Ty can hang on to the back of Jacob O'Reilly and bring them forward.
Yeah, definitely be working on manoeuvring. It's continuing on down the Hamilton Straight. Only on the lap 3. Been plenty of racing so far. Young Ty holding his position there. It's going to go back up to Gamble. So Gamble closed Rattray White a little bit, but has McNamara and Hobson still tucked up in that train behind. Flashbomb's closed the gap a little bit to get a bit closer to that. As you'll see him come out of the fog, tucked up behind. Black Dylan Rudd looking to make a move on him here.
Flashbomb just missed his brake mark at the junction, just missed the apex, and Dylan Rudd didn't need a second bite of the cherry there. He moved straight through to make another position, and now he's got Brenton Hobson just in front of him.
Yeah, closing that gap down very quickly as well. So Dylan Rudd up 7 spots as we speak. Doing quite well for him. I think he picked up about 3 or 4 on that first lap and has slowly worked his way through.
We're just looking at the lap time, John. Dylan was actually second quickest car on track that time round. Naturally his teammate was the quickest car. He's lost in the fog now, I can hardly see him up front. But yeah, Dylan's second quickest on track, so clearly he had a bad quali run and his pace is still there, and he's just edging his way forward with each lap. He's up 7 spot, the biggest move of the night so far.
Yeah, it's tucked up behind Hobson now, only 3/10 behind him. So this will be intense battle here. Hobson ain't going to be an easy guy to get past. Let me just see what Rudd can do here. As that is a true point. Let me see if I can show that up, Dave. There we go for Dave Baldock out in the chat. Mark, there's an interesting statistic. Dean Flavel in 15th is the first Mustang.
Wow, that's an interesting point, and thanks for that, Dave Baldock. I never even considered that factor. Yeah, that's a very interesting point.
The old parody. Oh, here we go. Hobson gets himself through on McNamara, and Rudd comes through as well.
McNamara got a better exit than Rudd there, and Dylan didn't fight it too hard, allowed McNamara to slot back in. But yeah, that was a nice move from Hobson. Slight mistake from Sean going into the last complex of corners, and yeah, Brent was straight up the inside.
Good little move, but these boys still battling strong here. Rudd trying to work out how he's going to get past Gamble.
Just got to gamble. A couple of little lockups there. I'm not sure if he's struggling on the brakes. He looks like he probably overheated his tyres a little bit on that last lap and just struggled for a few corners. So he's got Dylan Rudd all over the back of him, and it'll be interesting to see if Dylan tries to make a move down the hanger straight here. Gamble will still have the tow from Brent and Hobson in front. Dylan looks like he got a good entry and exit there, so this is going to be interesting down hanger straight. He's tucked right up under the wing of Gamble here. I think we'll see Dylan can maybe move to the inside.
Here he comes. Nah, shows the nose, pulls it back behind. Gamble goes a bit wide, opens the door a little bit. And doesn't swing back across. Pulls it up into the chicane. Back on the gas again. Good run from Rudd here on the inside. Have the inside for the next corner coming off Hamilton Straight. And Rudd is past Gamble. Gamble drops 2 spots. Rudd now up 8.
How much that gap opened up just in a couple of corners there with Gamble and Rudd battling there. Scotty might have been better off just letting that one go a bit earlier and just tucking up behind Dylan, but it's done and dusted now. Now he's going to have to hang on to Dylan and try and work his way back towards these people in front of him under guys are getting a tow from Dylan.
And of course, Blast Bomb here, trying to have a bit of a look. Coming in hot and heavy. A good little battle, this group. This is all battling for 5th, 6th and 7th. Coming out of Cops, using a little bit of extra width. Gamble's got tyre issues, so it'll show up here as we go through Maggots, Beckett's.
A lot of lateral loading around on this track, and it doesn't take too many corners to heat the tyres up if you're not wearing the car up before you get on the gas. Looks like Scotty's just suffering a little bit of tyre wear at the moment, missing a few apexes.
Gotta be a little bit careful, doesn't drop too far off.
Only person in the 202s the last time around was James Scott. Everybody else on in the 203s.
They're run even in a 204, so definitely a fair bit of pressure amongst this group.
I think Rudd lost a little bit of time battling with Scotty Gamble, but we've seen that gap open up now, and still seeing Scotty lock up them fronts. And I'm not sure if he might want to just wind that bias back 1 or 2 notches.
That might be something's happened to Alan Dawson, our reigning Super 2 champion. Let's have a look. On in a little bit deep, he's hit the sausage curb, it's unbalanced the car, and it has decided to smack it back round the other way. Nice rolls off the circuit out of the way of his teammate. And a couple of other guys battling in some tight packs. Dave Coleman putting some pressure on Timmy Mulford at the moment. And Troy Stonestreet is off in the sand. What's happened to Stoney there? He was just tucked up behind, or just in front of Mulford. Let's have a quick look what's happened. Supercheap Auto replay, same thing again, the car getting a bit loose. Finding the grass, manages to keep control. Very lucky there that didn't snap back, face the other way. Thomas Freeman under a lot of pressure from Ty Delaney. This is a battle for ninth.
I just let Thomas through a couple of kilometres earlier, so Ty probably looking to tuck up under the wind tide. A little bit of no man's land there. Probably lost the tail bit, so Ty possibly looking to use Thomas to get back up to the back of Jacob O'Reilly and get in behind him and save a bit of fuel.
Yeah, smart way to play it. Of course, the Viz from Accelerate Sim Racing, Anthony Visner, he's tucked up behind Delaney now as well, keeping that pressure on. Still a few battles around the track as we jump back up. Retro White, the man sitting in second place. That still has Sean McNamara tucked up behind in third spot at the moment. So definitely still a fair way back.
Of course, Zach is probably one of the only drivers in the field who's not picking up a toe from somebody, so yeah, he's breaking the wind for all these people behind him, and it's hurting his pace a little bit.
Yeah, definitely not an easy way to do it by yourself, using more fuel as well. But needs to keep his nose in front of these lads. He battles his way through. He might just, as these boys here start lap 8 of 34. What's 2 compulsory pit stops tonight? They'll probably, if they're on the split strategy, they'll be looking around lap 11 or 12 for that first stop. Depending on how their tyre wear is going. Definitely circuit a lot of lateral loading on tyres. He's going to check on our mate Coleman.
But Dave's in a good battle here with Timmy Mulford because this pair have had plenty of battles over the years and officials with us all over the place, and they've been known to come together occasionally, but Dave keeping it clean here at the moment. He's down 5 spots from his starting position. He did get pushed wide, I think it was from Jacob O'Reilly on lap 2, so unfortunate for Dave, he dropped a few spots, but he's looking to find his way back.
Definitely working hard here. We go a little bit further back, Dean Flavelle, so we know our leading Mustang. And Dino here battling away with Steve Tonkin in front of him. He's hanging on close enough to get that draft. Going to go a little bit further back, Mark. There's someone else who's battling away. And tucked up behind Alan Dawson is Rusty Gander. So Russell here working with Alan at the moment. So hopefully he can tuck along here and get a free ride for a fair while. But great to see Russell turn up, split 3 driver in vets. And like John Fillingham as well, who's running in 19th. These two boys learning a lot about the V8's running around here with us at East Coast.
Yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely great to see a series such as this at East Coast. You've got drivers who are absolutely at the top of the game and got fairly new guys who are learning their craft and probably not as young as a lot of drivers, and probably takes a little bit longer to learn the older you get, but yeah, it's great to see some boys from split 3 and vets having a lash and getting out here, having some fun, and yeah, like you say, John, learning a lot about the car, learning how to race against faster drivers.
And of course, faster drivers, James Scott's last lap was a 2:03.35, but the man sitting at the back of this pack, Dylan Rudd, with a 2:03.23. So Rudd, would he looking to try and make some moves on these boys shortly? Particularly as we're coming probably to the end of this first stint. Or as he sat back behind there, looked after the car, and we'll capitalise on these guys going in early. This is what we're about to find out. Flavel's the first guy to go into pit lane. It's for you, Dave Baldock. It must be a Mustang thing.
Yeah, these 4 drivers here, Rattray White, McNamara, Hobson, Dylan Rudd, they are so even on pace. It's incredible. And the only person not picking up a toe is Rattray White. I'm surprised Sean hasn't had the pace to get past him on one of the straights, but possibly Sean's just biding his time and saving some fuel.
And these boys have actually dropped Gamble by 1.7 seconds. And Gamble's starting to fall into the clutches of Zachary Vlasbom. So interesting battles forming up a bit further down in this top 10.
Jacob O'Reilly too, he's just behind Zach Vlasbom. Jacob normally seen a little bit further forward than this on in the standings, but clearly he hasn't done too many laps around Silverstone, and it is a tricky track to learn.
Yeah, very technical circuit. Very easy to underestimate it when you look at the map and go big long straightaways.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said earlier, big, wide, Grand Prix track. Yeah, very easy to underestimate how technical some of these corners are.
Hobson's the first to peel off. Saw Brenton go into pit lane. And Thomas Freeman as well, and Mulford. I did say back 11 or 12.
Yeah, like you said, John, 11 or 12, and as we said, Brenton Hobson, he's a very, very good strategist, and he's not one to throw away an opportunity to try something different amongst the people around him.
Yes, very clever operator is Hobbo.
Pretty short stop, he's only on the jacks for 9-10 seconds, so we've got tyres and not a lot of fuel, so we started with a pretty full belly of fuel in that car, and he's just been on the jacks for 10 seconds. So interesting. Thomas Freeman was on the jacks for 15 and a half. I'd say Brent's really looking for an undercut
Yeah.
here.
What's sitting at the back of that pack? So that would be the idea. Well, the only I was about to say he's the only Synergy car running this evening, so hasn't got teammates to help him.
So that short stop's either going to force the others to rethink their strategy to try and keep track position, or they're just going to stick to their strategy and wait for the second stop to see if they can't. Yeah, Hobbo's kind of thrown a cat amongst the pigeons there, I thought.
Well, just coming around Stowe now into Vale. Does anyone else peel off? No, these boys all keep going. And no one's covering off Hobson. Hobbo, of course, has come back out in 13th. He's got plenty of clear track around him. So definitely big moves from Hobbo here. With that undercut, Lawrence and James into the pits as well. They're starting to see a few of these guys get this first upholstery pit stop out of the way. Retro White McNamara still nose to tail with Rudd. Jacob O'Reilly, he's still tucked up behind his teammate, Zachary Vlasbom. And John Fillingham in the pits as well. Now these two have been nose to tail working together. Hobson now is caught back up behind Tonkin, so he won't want to be sitting here too long. If you get past the JWM Motorsports car. And of course, with a set of tyres that are only a lap or two old versus someone's 12 lap old tyres, he gets the job done. So nicely manoeuvres himself through Abbey and puts his head down now. Dave Coleman, the next man up the track for him. And just going down the back, Alan Dawson, John Fillingham having a good little battle here as well. Fillingham just coming out from his stop. And so Dawson has stopped as well. And McNamara and Gamble into the pit lane. So we'll see where they roll out. And Ty Delaney rolls in as well. On board Retro right. Retro White has Dylan Rudd tucked up behind him at the moment. He's nearly 10 seconds down the road from the race leader, James Scott.
Just looking at lap time, James Scott's about 8 tenths of a second quicker than the second quickest car, so he's just got speed in hand at the moment.
They're definitely in form at the moment, young James.
No, Hobbo's cleared Sean McNamara, so Sean was stationary for 12.5 seconds, Scotty Gamble stationary for 13.1. Brenton Hobson has achieved part of his goal already, jumping Sean Mack.
Hobbo, definitely the man making the moves. First one to go in. Went for the undercut, and looking like it's going to pay off. It's still got Vlasbom. Pulls out of the way this time and unleashes Jacob O'Reilly. Hey, pardon the pun, it's hammer time. O'Reilly let loose there. Going to go back to our mate Dave Coleman. He's tucked up behind Dean Flavel.
James Scott into the pit. Retro White keeps going.
And Rudd into the pits as well. Obviously,
James Scott, Rudd, O'Reilly, Lasp,
Isma. Keep an eye on Hobson here. This is where we'll see if it paid off. He runs himself through the Vale chicane and out through Club. Getting down the Hamilton straight. The other guys are all on pit exit now. Hobson gets himself to P3. Great move from the undercut. Very happy with that one, I think the SSR boys would be. And Dylan Rudd comes out behind McNamara as well. So the undercut definitely paying off here. And Scott stopped for 14 seconds. Hobson's for 10. McNamara was 12.5. Rudd was 11.3. 13 for Gamble. 15 for Freeman. So some mixed stop times in there, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking at Jonathan Hobson, he probably came into the pits 25 seconds behind James Scott, 20 seconds behind James Scott, and that's reduced to 4 seconds. So this goes to show you a little bit of strategy.
And Dylan Rudd nicely tucked up behind McNamara now. He'd be looking to make a move here. Don't think he'd like to get stuck behind him for too long.
And these two probably wouldn't want to fight too much. They've got Scotty Gamble. And Dylan's obviously got good pace, but Sean's driving well here too. He's obviously feeling pretty comfortable around this track.
Very balanced is that 9.5 Sim Sports entry.
Dylan's a big mover of the night. He's up 8 spots at the moment. He started 13th, he's up into 5th.
I was looking to get the job done here pretty quick, I think. Hobson a further 5 seconds or 2.5 seconds up the road from these guys. I don't think you'd want to spend too long. He's got the pace to catch him.
I think what we saw earlier with Scotty Gamble fighting tooth and nail to hang on to his position actually just ended up hurting him. Sometimes you're better off just knowing when to hold them and knowing when to fold them, I guess.
Of course, only lap 15 at 34. Still a long way to go to get home from here.
Absolutely, still a lot to unfold before checkered flag comes out. Delaney and Jacob O'Reilly in a pretty fierce battle here as well.
It's too wide at Cops isn't usually the greatest. McNamara hangs on. Might just drop back down. Ty Delaney. And Ty under a lot of pressure. And Zach Rattray White, our race leader, into the lane for his first compulsory pit stop. But you can see where he comes out, Mark. He's gone a long shot overcut. Let's wait for these cars to come out of the English fog. Moves down the back there as well. And James Scott just sets a purple lap with a 2:01.831. McNamara and Rudd side by side. But Rudd's got it done this time. Coming through Stowe.
Freeman around.
That might just quickly go. Supercheap Auto replay. Have a quick look at that.
Looks like he just clipped one of them sausage curbs. I'm not sure if he got a slight touch from Zach Lasbom, but kind of feel like Thomas did that himself, unfortunately.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, I think, Mark. Yeah, particularly that part of the circuit. You do not want to touch those red sausage curves.
Yeah, definitely unsettled the car and probably took a little bit of pace off. Like I said, I'm not sure if he actually got a touch from Blasbomb, but I don't think there was anything Blasbomb did in it one there. There wasn't much he could do to avoid anything there.
Riley's got himself past Delaney. That tussle.
Bud now in the podium position as well, so he's on McNamara. Rattray White has gone P1, P2, back to P5, so he was stationary for 10.1 seconds. So it wasn't a long stop, but that long stint certainly didn't work the way he probably wanted to.
Keeps him in the battle here of McNamara and Rudd, so 3, 4 and 5 all sitting nose to tail. And what we've got to remember is they've all got to make one more stop. So for Rattray White to maximise his tyres here, he can probably go a little bit deeper into the race. I'm not sure if that was a little bit of a push or not. McNamara shuffled back. So, of course, Rattray White pitting on lap 15. The boys around him pitting on lap 12. And Hobson on lap 10. And race control called into action by the looks of it.
Yes, McNamara just asking for a review there. Bretton Hobson currently P2 and setting some pretty good times out there. He's still faster than the guys behind him. So other than James Scott and Dylan Rudd, third quickest guy was Scotty Gamble back in P6. So I think Gamble found his mojo again after struggling in the latter half of that first stint. But yeah, Bretton Hobson setting some good times out there, and he's got Dylan Rudd now trying to hunt him down, and Rattray White, of course, is tucked right up behind Dylan Rudd and looking to get a run down here.
Like he might have it, to be honest. His freshest set of boots. A couple of laps does make a little bit of difference early on. Might just have a quick look at that pass. Ever find it again? No, won't worry about it. These two battling away quite well. Another battle on track that's close at the moment. Troy Stone Street putting a lot of pressure on Anthony Visma. Only having a great little drive here. Of course, Stone Street leading our Super 2 challenges at the moment as well. We'll go back to this battle. This is really tightened up even more now. Dylan Rudd still hanging on in the hard charging Rattray White. It's 2/10 faster than him on the last lap.
Just as I sang Hobbo's praises, he had a shocker of a lap and dropped about a second, almost 0.8 of a second to the boys behind him. So that gap closing very quickly now.
Looking around about lap 22, 23 would be what you'd be looking for if you were doing a split strategy. So Hobbo probably a couple of laps short of that, about 4 shy. Because he went in on lap 10, so 2 laps earlier than everybody else. Excuse me. Rattray White tucked right up behind again. Just needs to get the legs through this part of the circuit. Needs to come out of Beckett's and Chapel. Better speed than Rudd. And chance of a run down Hanger Straight. Looks like Rudd's got away reasonably well this time. Back up, he'll show his nose, pull back in behind.
Rudd's still close enough to Hobson to be picking up a bit of a toe, so that makes it a little bit harder for Rattray White to get past down that straight. We did see the previous lap where he dived up the inside there on McNamara, and McNamara called in the race control for a bump and run. But haven't had anything back from race controllers yet.
Sure, Richie Barella and the team would be looking at it more different angles.
McNamara's fallen behind his teammate Scotty Gamble now, so Sean's gone from P3 down to P6, which will be very frustrating for him.
With no obvious damage on that entry. Definitely a bit of a battle for most of these guys this evening. It's going to go back up. That Rattray White battle still tucked up right behind. Hobson starting to come back to these boys a little bit. That gap nearly under a second now, Mark.
Yeah, so last lap, Hobson at 2:03.370, Dylan Rudd at 2:03.342, and Rattray White at 2:03.365. So absolutely nothing in it. Scotty Gamble not far off them times as well. Sean McNamara a little bit slower, and Jacob O'Reilly matching the speed of the boys in front. So Sean McNamara will do normally on that lap around.
Yeah, McNamara definitely in a little bit of trouble.
Anthony Visma doing a good job. He's in 10th place. He's up behind Zach Laspom at the moment, and we know Anthony loves to have a go, and he's a real racer. And I'm not sure. Laspom is probably not close enough to Ty Delaney to be getting a real big toe. So this might be an opportunity for Visma to make another position.
Yeah, Anthony would be happy to get up that grid one more spot, but his foot on 10th place. Don't rule him out wanting to go one more. Stone Street, our leading Super 2 driver, hanging on to these boys in the background there as well. And here comes the Viz. Oh, he had a good hard look at it. Jump on board with Stone Street. He's got the best seat in the house to watch this battle in front of him.
Probably desperate to get on that button and tell Visma to have a go.
I'm sure Greg Favell will be spotting for him this evening. He'd be telling him to have a crack at it. Just send it, Anthony. Just send it. Well, it drives with a lot of integrity. Good to see race steward for vets is Anthony Visma. Maybe looking to send it, but I'm sure he will show a level head with his approach to it.
It's funny, the first stint Zach Laspom had plenty of pace, looked quite comfortable in the car, but this stint just not looking as comfortable as what he was. So, yeah, interesting how it ebbs and flows.
Yeah, definitely no teammate to work with at the moment for him. Could be affecting his pace a little bit.
Of course, it's also when you're under a bit of pressure from behind, it's easier to drive in the mirror rather than the windscreen. So Anthony doing a good job to kill the mirrors here. He hasn't got the job done yet, but these two boys are having a real good battle.
They're definitely having a genuine crack at it. And it's a touch! He spun flash bomb. All the talk. Bismuth's just done it. Flash bomb on the radio. Might just quickly go to Supercheap Auto replay for that one. And there you see, just a little bit of a touch, not much in it. Stone Street comes in behind. I'm sure there's probably going to be a redress there, maybe. Where is Bismuth? Oh, he hasn't redressed.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like Zach left the door open there, and Anthony had plenty of overlap, and he might have been afforded a bit more racing room there, but I'm not in race control. I'll leave it up to them. That's just the way I saw it. I just felt like the door was left wide open, and Bismuth showed the previous lap he stuck his nose up there the last lap, and Vlasbom left the door open once again, and Bismuth wasn't going to have a second go of cherry that time.
Definitely playing the game there with that one. That's disappointing. That was going to be a good little battle I think we were going to see unfold in these last 12 laps, or 13 laps.
Yeah, it was disappointing, but yeah, I was surprised to see Zach leave the door open after Bismuth showed his intentions the previous lap. But anyway, that's racing. We'll get back on with what we're doing and let race control adjudicate on that one.
Absolutely. There's Rattray White still sitting in third. He's just done a 2:03.00, so he's 1/10 faster than Hobson in front and was 3/10 faster than the car behind. So Rudd dropping back a little bit now. Maybe in fuel saving mode. But these boys here, Hobson doing really well. He's gone 12 laps on his tyres. And if we start seeing some of these guys planning their second compulsory pit stop shortly. The undercut worked very well for Hobson at the first stop. Has he got anything left to get himself over the line?
He's still got good pace out there. The only people quicker than him last time round was Rattray White and James Scott. So Hobbo is showing that he's still got plenty of pace. Just heard race control talk about the Rattray White McNamara incident, and they said no further action. Racing incident, so sigh of relief there for Rattray White,
and of course that was a few laps ago, so they definitely had a good hard look at it.
Hobbo in the pits.
Yep. We thought he might be the first one. Gamble McNamara have rolled in as well. Rattray White now by himself again. Gamble out wide by him going long. Not Gamble, sorry. Scott going long. Interesting.
Yeah, I'll be definitely interested to see the pace of Rattray White versus Rudd here without anybody around to interfere. It'll be interesting to just see what their pace is like. Of course, Rattray White's on fresher tyres, but he's done 5 or 6 laps on them now, so they're not brand new.
And Hobson's just rolled out in clear air in 6th place. And Sean McNamara has come out around a little bit of traffic, getting caught out wide here from Dave Coleman, Motorsports. This will be hurting the time, this outlap. Be so careful with traffic. So Campbell in front of McNamara now. Campbell trying to work his way up with Stone Street.
Well, Stone Street knows he's really not racing Scotty Gamble and gives him plenty of room to get on with his race. And Wise head there from Stone Street. He'll just use Gamble to tow him around and try and get up to the back of Anthony Visser.
Well, Stone Street in the top 10 now as our lead Super 2 driver. Just going to go back a little bit further, another little battle pack here. They're all nose to tail. This is Thomas Freeman, Tim Mulford, Alan Dawson. Stephen Lawrence as well in the front. Of course, O'Reilly and Rudd have come in as well. So Mulford's made his second stop here. Boys around him haven't. Except for Freeman, sorry. So Freeman getting caught in a little bit of traffic. So they're all starting to roll in, mate. We've got Rudd, O'Reilly, Visma, Stone Street, Coleman, Flavel, Tonkin, all down the lane. So 10 laps to go. And we're about to see, 10 and a half laps to go, we're about to see where most of these guys are going to roll out for the charge home. Thing with 2 compulsory pit stops, we don't know how much fuel everyone's taken. And we don't know how much fuel they've saved and how they've looked after tyres. But these guys will have a 10-lap dash. As they start coming out, Stone Street has jumped Visma in the lane.
No further action on the Visma Glassbomb incident as well, I just heard race control say. So Visma will be breathing a sigh of relief there.
Yes, definitely, as he's still just inside the top 10. Troy Stone Street. Great pit stop there. He's jumped the queue. He's going to chuck up the pit time just so we can have a bit of a look at that. So Stone Street 12.3, Visma 13.3. So 1 second makes a big difference with fuel in the pit lane when it is a tight race. And Dave Coleman hanging out the back there as well behind Visma. So keep an eye on them. That he's battling, of course, with Stone Street for the Super 2 Championship. So definitely a hard charge in that direction. Zach Rattray White's coming into the pit lane now, so this will be the interesting one. Did show a lot of pace. Coleman looking very racy here, Mark.
Yeah, Dave qualified quite well. Like I said, he got nudged out wide by Jacob O'Reilly. I think it was around Abbey or somewhere around there, and it was really no fault of his own, and just got pushed out wide and dropped a handful of spots early on when the race was still bunched up. So that really hurt him, but doing a good job out there, currently in P11.
Delaney in the pit lane as well. Rattray White just rolling. See how he comes out here. I think he is going to lose to Rudd. No. Got the nose out in front just. Rudd's got to maximise here while Rattray White gets his tyres up to temperature. And Hobson's still just in front of these guys as well. Hobson, of course, pitting 2 laps earlier.
We've still got 9 laps to go, John. This podium's certainly not decided by any stretch of the imagination at the moment. Second, third, fourth is quite a close battle. So James Scott looking very comfortable out front, still setting good lap times on old tyres, still in the 202. So yeah, it's going to be a case of James Scott taking his pit stop whenever he feels like it. 30 seconds, so plenty of time in hand for James.
Oh, he'd be able to take a pit stop, sign a few signatures and get going again. Plenty of time in hand.
Yeah, so it's actually 36 seconds, not 30 seconds. So here's a long pit lane, so he will go back to the field a little bit, but yeah, he's still got a nice healthy margin there.
Just jumping on this battle here. Coleman under a bit of pressure from Stoney. Stone Street jumped these boys. And they've managed to make their way back past him. And it's going back up the front. Hobson under a lot of pressure. The Hobson with a 202.6, 202.0 for Rudd behind. So plenty of pace in that Lobs Esports Speed Cafe entry. But of course, it's one thing to be fast, it's another thing to get past. And lap 26 to 34, time is ticking. As Rattray White moves into P2. Hobson tries to fight his way back as we come out of Brooklands into Luffield.
But Dylan Rudd go very deep there, thinking he was going to be able to get a bit of an opportunity there on Hobson as Rattray White went past, but wasn't to be. So now Hobson's going to have to do everything he can to hang on to the back of Rattray White and keep Dylan Rudd at bay.
Yeah, definitely battle going on here. James Scott decides to pull into the lane.
Scotty Gamble actually doing a good job here back in 5th place as well. He's made up a fair bit of ground after really struggling at the back end of his first stint. So he's got back in a good rhythm and setting some good lap times out there as well.
Yeah, definitely holding on to that P5 position. And Hobson now under a lot of pressure from Rudd, so he shuffled back that little bit further. Hobson doesn't find any pace, he'll be in trouble with Gamble by the end of this one. See Scotty in the background there with his lights glaring. Rudd up the inside of Abbey. Gonna hold it through Farm. And into Village, still side by side. Some great driving from these two. Hobson defends through the loop. Gets himself clear. As heading down the Wellington Straight, does Rudd have a look coming down into Brooklands? Oh, he tucks up behind again. A little bit loose there from Hobson, entering into Luffield. It's the power down through Woodcote.
This is allowing that Rattray White to skip away a bit, and that's not what Hobson wants. Hobson really wants to hang on to that toe if he can, because he's going to be very vulnerable to Dylan Rudd if he doesn't.
Of course, this is really opening the door up for Gamble as well, who's catching these guys. Great little battle here. Of course, Hobbo, a two-time champion of the Supercheap Auto East Coast Series, so he knows what's got to be done. Very, very smart racecraft. That car, he's looking a little bit loose, Mark.
Yeah, I think it's just probably just the pressure he's feeling from defending and trying to keep lap speed. So very easy to just get on the throttle just a fraction too hard or too early and let the car skip sideways. So Rudd doing a good job. He has kept it clean. There's still we've got 6.5 laps to go, so still a fair bit of tarmac for Brenton Hobson to defend before the checkered flag comes.
Yeah, definitely a long way to go. Just going to drop back onto Coleman. Coleman's putting a lot of pressure on Visma now. This battle really heightening up. Definitely great drive from Dave Coleman.
Yeah, he's still down one position on where he started, but yeah, definitely a good fight back after losing half a dozen or more spots early on from an incident that wasn't his fault. They have opened the gap up a little bit on Stone Street, but Stone Street's still in touch, and as soon as these boys start to get side by side with each other, we'll see that gap close very quickly. Just behind these boys we've got Zach Blasbaum, who really showed some great pace early on, and just things haven't quite gone his way since the end of that first stint. Second stint in the car he really seemed to be struggling. Not sure if he took tyres or not, but yeah, that second stint was just not what we saw from him earlier on in the race.
Nah, definitely not. Dean Flavel in 14th, he's up 2 spots. I mean, a good drive from him. He's got himself about a second and a half ahead of Timmy Mulford. Timmy's tucked right up behind him, sorry. Mulford's only about 0.4 of a second behind. And then, of course, we've got Stephen Tonkin a little bit further back behind them. And then the other man who's made the big moves tonight, Alan Dawson, up 5 spots. So, great drive from Alan. But Visma under a lot of pressure, still coming up the hanger straight. Ooh. Coleman trying everything here. Just stay with this for a little bit.
Visma defending early, but that gave him that shallow entry and not a great exit. Dave Coleman throwing it up the inside.
It looks like Coleman's going to not quite get it done yet. This course is bringing in Blasbaum in the pit lane. Not sure what's going on there. This, of course, opens up the door. Oh, he's in the wall! Engine's blown! Wow!
Coleman gets sideways coming out of the exit of the last corner and then takes Visma with him. That's a real shame for Visma, and it's certainly not something Dave will be happy about.
No, that's just, we might just go one more view of that. See if we can get that from the chopper cam. Having a blind of a race, that's the wrong one. Having a blind of a race was Coleman. Leading Super 2s into the wall, bang, that's Visma gone. Stone Street luckily scoots through there. That was huge.
I think we did predict that Stone Street was rubbing his hands together with that battle in front of him.
And Rudd now under pressure to manage to get himself past Gamble, sorry. So wait and see, we might get a late safety car, or we may not. Just keeping a bit of an eye on the stewards. And big dive into the pits. Big dive into the pits. Don't see McMillan on track, so not sure whether he's gone yet or not.
Safety car has been called.
Oh, wow.
5 laps to go.
Wow.
So Visma in a pretty vulnerable position on the exit of the last corner there, coming onto the front straight. So safety car has been called onto the track.
That is quite interesting. Rudd with a big dive through the pit lane, so I wonder whether he had points penalty issue or fuel issues. Good topping out the tank. Mulford's coming in and Freeman's coming in as well.
Well, with 5 laps to go, I'm not sure. Did Dylan Rudd get up on the jacks and take tyres?
Let's get a quick look at his pit time. Dylan Rudd stopped for 11.6 seconds. So he's taken tyres. They're still waiting to see the safety car. Must be waiting to pick up the leader, I think.
No, Rudd didn't stop, John. I just went and looked at the replay, so that must have been incident points. So he must have got a black flag for incident points.
That is a bit of harsh work, that. As the safety car is on track from complete scaffolding. Like he's picked up a couple of cars. I expect a few quick wave arounds in shortly. A huge thank you, of course, to Complete Scaffold, who sponsor our safety car here at East Coast. So if you are in need of scaffolding on the south coast of New South Wales, give the boys a call at Nowra, and I'm sure Pete and the team could definitely help you out. As great timing for the safety car to come out, and will create a real interest in this race. There we go.
Yeah, it's probably about the only corner where you need the safety car to come out. Actually,
I know,
John.
I know.
I was just going through my mind where any other parts of the track you don't have enough runoff to clear the car without a safety car. And I think that's about the only corner I can think of.
Yeah, it is. It's the only one where you got the wall. Maybe just coming out of Woodcote along the old start-finish straight, the old pits. You got the wall there as well. It's probably about the only two spots. The rest of the circuit is so wide and open.
Yeah, because it's very rare you get a safety car in iRacing around this track, but I'm sure Rattray White is happy about it.
Yeah, this is going to create a little bit of a battle now. The Hobson-White gamble. He was showing a bit of pace coming into the end of it. Dylan Rudd, definitely very pacey and racy. O'Reilly still in the battle there as well. And is that Dave Coleman doing a tour down the lane? So if you were struggling with fuel, you should be all right. So I don't know sure why you'd be coming in. I think you'd lose too many spots for tyres. Interesting. James Scott's coming. Any more coming down the lane?
Few people coming down the lane for tyres, so.
Well, I suppose if the safety car's waiting to pick up James Scott, he can afford to do that. Interesting.
Rattray White and Hobson just coming through the last complex of corners now, about to come into the last corner, so it'll be interesting to see where James Scott comes out here.
It's James rolling out. And Rattray White is past him.
So has Hobson.
We are in for a treat when this gets going, Mark.
So James Scott rolled the dice there, and there's only going to be 2 laps of racing, I think.
And of course, the safety car is only running down the Wellington Straight at the moment. It's only just picking up the leaders. So James Scott has had 3 stops. Dylan Rudd has had 3 stops. Sean McNamara has had 3 stops. Thomas Freeman has gone for 3, and Timmy Mulford's gone for 3, and Coleman in for 3. Of course, Coleman probably went in to fix some damage, I'd imagine, being involved in the incident, of course, with Anthony Visma. So Troy Stone Street leading our Super 2 cars. He's sitting in 9th position at the moment. And behind him is his teammate, Dean Flavell. Zachary Vlashbaum is in 11th. Thomas Freeman in 12th. And Tonkin and Mulford now in pit lane as well.
You might only get 1 lap of racing here. I'm not sure.
So the other one too is you got a chance to cool these tyres down a little bit. Most of these guys will be on tyres that only be 10 laps old, not even 10 laps old. Oh yeah, interesting strategy, putting new boots on. It'll be interesting to see what pressure Scott applies to Hobson and Rattray White here. You'd be looking for a very smart jump. Safety car's gone. We're going to go green this lap.
We're going to have 2 laps of racing. We've got Matthew Shanahan in amongst the yeah, Matthew Shanahan's a bit of out of sync with the drivers around him here at the moment.
Yeah, that makes it interesting. He's sitting in between 4th and 5th is Shanahan in the Veterans Gaming Australia entry. I keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on board Rattray White. He's away. He's gone early.
Shanahan does a great job until...
Oh, he's gone too hot! Oh, Rattray White blows it. Hobson goes through. Scott goes through. I'm sure there's a slowdown with that as well. Gamble lining up behind him.
Rattray White's definitely got to slow down.
Wow, that will hurt big time. As Hobson now falls under pressure and Scott already gets the job done. Hobson will be picking his battle there, I'd imagine.
So Rattray White trying to clear this slowdown. Falling through the field like a stone.
They're already back to 6th. This is a problem when you start bunching them up. But look a bit further back. Scott Gamble now rolls back into P3. Going to go on the Dylan Rudd. He looks like he's trying to get the job done on O'Reilly. Oh, bit of side-by-side action there. Rattray White, I think, gets shuffled out on that one.
It's all happening here.
Stone Street sitting at the back of this waiting for something to go wrong. These guys here, this is an absolute epic battle with these lads. James Scott's clearing out. Hobson's sitting comfortable. Scott's about 2 seconds behind Hobson. They might just stay with this gaggle of cars. They all look like they've settled into a line here, but we'll just see what happens as we come down the hangar straight. Coleman on the radio, not sure what that's about. Plenty of action. It looks like McNamara was about to make a move there, but he's tucked back into line. And of course, James Scott comes across to take the white flag. This is the last lap. Scott with a 2:01.305 purple lap. Made the most of these new tyres that he put on. Hobson, a wily old craftsman that he is, still sitting in second place here. Scott Gamble, he's got himself a foot on the podium, and he's got himself a good 2 seconds clear of Dylan Rudd, who is in the middle of a battle. Of course, he's got about 0.7 tenths back to Rattray White, McNamara, O'Reilly, Ty Delaney, and then at the back of this group, Troy Stone Street. So definitely plenty of fighting going on in this group.
Yeah, absolutely. Scotty Gamble's done a great job to fight his way back onto the podium after suffering a little bit at the end of his first stint on used tyres, but he's really found a good rhythm and got back on the podium. Rattray White, the big loser out of that restart, he went from P1 down to P5. Ty Delaney doing a good job as well in P8, so some pretty good racing here tonight. That opening stanza after the safety car with Rudd, Rattray White, McNamara, O'Reilly. Saw him 4 wide, 3 wide, 3 corners. That was a great battle. Everybody kept it clean. So yeah, been some pretty hotly contested racing after this safety car period.
It definitely been an interesting race. A late safety car spiced it right up as coming around for the final time.
Sean McNamara with the slowdown coming into the last couple of corners. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to clear it before the line.
Just jump on McNamara. He's crossed the line.
I think he just cleared it, so good job there to get that out of the way. He only had one corner to clear it, so desperate times there. I'm sure he was thinking, oh no.
I might just have a quick look at the Rattray White. He just cooked it coming into the Vale chicane, leading him out on that restart. That is some tough luck, Mark. But, you know, the pressure was on, and that's when you've got to get everything 100% right. So we'll wait for the drivers to come in and have a chat to us.
Yeah, I'm sure he's kicking himself after that one. Really got the early jump, caught everyone by surprise, but caught himself by surprise as well, unfortunately, and just went too deep and, yeah, lost a lot of ground and then had that slowdown, which really compounded the error.
Yeah, it definitely made it really bad. And of course, you got everyone bunched up together, so you're going to really be hurt by it. Yeah, so James Scott from Brenton Hobson, Scott Gamble, Dylan Rudd, Rattray White brings it home in 5th, McNamara in 6th, O'Reilly in 7th, Ty Delaney, the 14-year-old minnow from Mishi Motorsports in 8th, Roy Stone Street in 9th, our lead Super 2 driver, and he brings it home ahead of Zachary Vlasbom in 10th, Dean Flavel in 11th, another one of our Super 2 boys. And then it was Freeman, Lawrence, Coleman, Tonkin, Mulford. Reg James managed to get up 3 spots to 17th. John Fillingham, Alan Dawson, Gander, Shanahan. Anthony Visma, I think, will complete enough laps to qualify as a finisher. And it was a very, very interesting finish to the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, big shout out to Dean Flavel. Quiet achiever out there. He's up 5 positions. Very quietly spoken man, and just goes about his business, minding his own business, and just passes people as they fall off the track. And he'd done a great job out there to finish just outside the top 10. So well done, Dean.
He did very well. And, of course, the man in 3rd, Scott Gamble. Well done, mate. That was a bit of a hectic finish.
Yeah, thanks, John. It sure was. Safety car right at the end. We couldn't hear the safety car there for a while, so I think they're broadcasting on a different channel, so we didn't know what was going on. But, yeah, we got it all sorted, and, yeah, we capitalised on, unfortunately for Zach, you know, he went off on that turn, and, yeah, we managed to get up into P3. So, yes, super stoked with that in the end.
It looked like you struggled a little bit at the back end of your first stint, Scott. You lost a little bit of pace, but then after your first pit stop, you found a good rhythm again with setting some good lap times and made some really solid ground on the guys in front of you. So good drive in the end to get back on the podium.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Mark. When there was a little bit of a team thing, we were going to let the boss through, and next thing Hobbo's come flying through with him, and next thing Rudd was there, and I'm cooking tyres, over driving it, and yeah, I had nothing left, no tyres left in that first stint. So you're 100% right. We just didn't get that right together. But well done on Hobbo for smacking it through there and taking the opportunity.
And, of course, Brenton Hobson, the man in P2, the wily old undercut for the first stop.
Yeah, ran out of tyres, so I thought I'd get some new ones, and then ran out of tyres again within about 5 laps in the second stint, and had to deal with it. This track is not a track I go well at. It's just there's no grip, and I don't know. I reckon there's no flow around this place. I just really struggle for whatever reason in the supercar anyway. So I didn't expect a P2 tonight, but I mean I'll take it. We always take them when you get them.
Of course, you're battling it there by yourself as the lone Synergy car this evening.
I know, right? You're getting ganged up on.
Yeah, bit of a surprise. Of course, the man in P1, another outstanding drive. I think this guy could maybe drive off an XL around his place and still beat most of these blokes. He's just definitely in form at the moment. Well done, James.
Thanks, mate.
How did you find that one from your vantage point?
Yeah, I don't know. I came in no practice, feeling severely under the weather as well. So a bit of a late decision to have a run tonight. And yeah, not really any laps. Only got like probably 3 or 4 in before quali. Took me ages to put in a lap with all the off tracks around here. And then yeah, no, the car was really good. We didn't really change it. Haven't really been changing it that much these last couple of rounds. So yeah, just sort of plug and play.
Yep.
And yeah, it was pretty good.
And anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yep, obviously all the guys at Lobs Esports. Yeah, not much work for tonight, but yeah, these last couple of rounds have really put us in a good spot. Found a really good window with this car. So yeah, thanks to all those guys. You know, Jared, Brody, Shane, Anton. You know, all those guys that help week in, week out. And obviously Speed Cafe as well. Couldn't do it without those guys. Ryko, make sure you go grab some setups off there and look at some data and things like that. And hybrid racing simulations as well. Thanks to those guys and you guys for the broadcast and the series admin people as well.
No worries. And how about anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I will throw a shout out to my friends at Synergy Sim Racing, although they abandoned me tonight. Yeah, sponsors, Watercraft Performance Centre, Dr. Epoxy, Works Racing Components, and all the others that help out. Obviously, all the people behind the scenes here at the league make it all happen. You could find sales for broadcast, and yeah, congrats to James and Scotty on a podium. It's a good drive.
Too easy. And Scott, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, John, to you guys, you and Mark both doing the broadcast. Thank you very much. And to the guys in race control, big shout out to them. Well done to James in P1. He absolutely smashed us as he always does. And well done to Hobbo P2. Congratulations, mate. To the 9.5 Synsport guys, thank you. We had a couple of us in there tonight with Sean and Tom, so that was good. But yeah, to the sponsors there, Racecraft, Turn In Apparel, RSW Graphics, Racing Ears, and Prestige Simtography. Thank you very much, guys, for sponsoring 9.5 Sim Sports.
No worries. And next week we will be back again, of course, on Anzac. What is the Anzac week? Tuesday before Anzac Day. And we will, of course, be at Red Bull, which will be a fun track, continuing this theme of F1 circuits. But Red Bull with the undulation changes is a circuit that really suits the V8's, and I'm looking forward to seeing some great racing there.
Yeah, it feels like we haven't been to Red Bull Ring for a while. Sometimes it feels like we're racing there every other week, but yeah, I kind of feel like we haven't been there for a while, so it should be an interesting race. It always throws up some great racing, so I look forward to that one.
Yeah, it definitely will be good. I want to send a huge thank you to everybody in the chat that have been watching and contributing this evening. Interesting that Dean Flavel in 11th was the first Mustang. That's one you can probably take back to J. Ross Brenton, that need a Mustang driver in the P10. Also want to thank you, Mark, again. We lost without you doing this. Want a huge thank you to the league race control guys. They donate their time and get heavily involved. So there's still Dan in the chat talking to someone. And of course, a huge thank you to the league admins as well. And no, it is definitely a good league. It's going very well. Some very close competitions across all of our classes. And really looking forward to the back half of this season. With the 2 drop rounds to come out, James Scott has no room to miss a week, and that will make it very interesting moving forward, I think. So keep an eye on this space. It is going to be a tight battle to the end, I think. And on that note, we might say a huge good night to everybody, and we'll see everybody, hopefully, at a sunny Red Bull next week. Not all.
There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars, Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small, some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name. Well, technically it's our first.